Every single day, whether you realize it or not, you're making three powerful decisions that shape the direction, quality, and emotion of your life. These decisions aren't big dramatic moments, and they rarely come with fanfare or warning. They happen quietly, almost automatically, but they carry enormous weight. These three decisions are what to focus on, what things mean, and what to do about them. These choices aren't made once in a lifetime or once a year. They happen hundreds of times a day, and they form the invisible framework of your results, your mood, your identity, and your future. The first decision is what to focus on. Your brain is always filtering millions of pieces of information. At any moment, you have the power to direct your focus. You can focus on what's missing or what's available. You can focus on what you can't control or what you can control. You can focus on the past, the present, or the future. This decision happens in a split second. But wherever focus goes, energy flows. If someone spends their time focusing on problems, they begin to feel overwhelmed. If someone instead chooses to focus on possibilities, the mind becomes more open to solutions. The difference between feeling stuck and feeling powerful often comes down to that one decision, where attention is placed. The second decision is what something means. This is even more powerful because nothing in life has meaning except the meaning you assign to it. Two people can go through the exact same event, but walk away with totally different emotions and beliefs because they gave it different meanings. One person might see a failure as a sign that they're not good enough. Another might see the same failure as feedback, as a stepping stone toward growth. Meaning shapes your emotional world. It decides whether you're frustrated or patient, hopeful or defeated, inspired or bored. The meaning you attach becomes your reality, and often it's not the event itself, but the meaning you gave it that defines your life experience. The third decision is what you're going to do. After you've focused on something and given it a meaning, you act or you don't. Every action you take, no matter how small, is a vote for the kind of life you're building. You're not just deciding what to do in that moment. You're reinforcing your habits, your beliefs, and your standards. If you choose to act in fear, you build a fearful life. If you act with courage, even while uncertain, you shape a stronger identity. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It means you must be conscious, because action is where change becomes real. You can think, reflect, and hope, but only action creates momentum. These three decisions happen all the time. Most people aren't aware they're making them. They wake up and focus on problems, give those problems a painful meaning, and then take actions that limit them even more. Over time, this becomes a pattern, and that pattern becomes their life. But the good news is, once you bring awareness to these choices, you can change everything. You can train yourself to focus on what empowers you. You can choose meanings that give you strength, and you can build the habit of bold, decisive action, even in the face of fear. You don't have to change your whole life overnight. You just need to begin noticing these decisions as they happen. When you catch yourself focusing on something negative, shift your attention. When something upsets you, stop and ask, what else could this mean? When you feel stuck, ask yourself, what's one small action I can take right now? That's how transformation begins, not by wishing for a different life, but by mastering the decisions that are shaping the one you already have. These three decisions are not just about success or failure. They're about who you become. Every day they are shaping your mindset, your relationships, your work, your health, and your future. When you become the master of what you focus on, what you believe it means, and how you respond, you don't just improve your life, you take control of it. And in that control, you find the power to grow, to lead, and to live with purpose. Focus is the first step in shaping how we feel, act, and experience life. At every moment, the mind is processing thousands of bits of information, but it can only concentrate on a limited amount at once. What we choose to focus on determines what we feel, how we respond, and ultimately what we become. Focus is like a spotlight. It highlights certain parts of reality and leaves others in the dark. And the other one, whatever that spotlight shines on, becomes our truth in the moment. This is why two people can be in the exact same situation and have completely different emotional responses. It all comes down to what they're focusing on. If someone constantly focuses on what's missing in their life, they will likely feel frustrated, empty, or even hopeless, no matter how much they actually have. On the other hand, if that same person shifts their attention to what they already have, to what's working, and to what they've overcome, their emotions immediately begin to change. Gratitude, energy, and possibility begin to grow. The situation might stay the same, but the emotional experience changes entirely. This is the power of focus. It shapes how you interpret life, and it influences how you show up every single day. There's always something to complain about and always something to appreciate. Both options are always available. The difference between the two is your focus. One person might wake up and focus on how tired they are, how hard the day ahead looks, or how things aren't fair. That focus drains their energy before they've even started the day. Another person might wake up and focus on the opportunity to grow, the strength they've built, or the people they care about. That focus gives them energy, even if their situation is challenging. The world around them may be the same, but what they feel inside is totally different. Focus doesn't just affect emotions, it also drives behavior. If someone focuses on fear, what could go wrong, how others might judge them, or how they might fail, they're likely to hesitate or not take action at all. But if they focus on the possibilities, the potential rewards, and the person they want to become, they're far more likely to step forward. Focus either builds momentum or blocks it. It can drive someone toward their goals or hold them back in a prison of their own thoughts. And the tricky part is that focus feels automatic, but in reality, it's a decision. You can choose to direct your attention. It just takes awareness and intention. Focus also determines whether you live in reaction or creation. When you focus only on problems, you're in a constant state of reacting. You feel like life is happening to you, and your role is to survive it. But when you focus on solutions, you begin to feel like the creator of your experience. Even if the problem is real, your mind starts searching for ways forward instead of staying stuck. That shift alone can completely change your quality of life. It doesn't mean you ignore what's hard. It means you don't give all your attention to it. You give your attention to what helps you grow and move forward. The brain is wired to find whatever it's looking for. If you look for problems, you'll see more problems. But if you start to ask better questions like, what can I learn from this? Or what am I grateful for right now? Your brain begins to scan for better answers. Focus works like a mental filter, and it can either help you or hurt you depending on how you use it. That's why training your focus is one of the most powerful habits you can develop. This doesn't mean you should avoid all negative thoughts or pretend everything is perfect. Life will always have challenges, but by learning to shift your focus, by learning to notice where your attention is and choosing to guide it, you take back control. You give yourself the ability to choose your emotions instead of being controlled by them. And when that happens, your life begins to change from the inside out. Every day brings countless moments where you choose what to focus on. You choose whether to look at the mountain ahead or the progress you've made. You choose whether to dwell on what you lack or embrace what you've learned. These small choices made over and over again shape your emotional state, and your emotional state shapes your energy, your decisions, and your destiny. Focus is the gateway. Mastering it is mastering the way you live. The meaning we give to events plays a crucial role in shaping our lives. It's not the events themselves, but the meaning we attach to them that determines how we feel and react. Life is full of moments, some big and some small, but each one is an opportunity to assign meaning. The power lies in this choice. The way you interpret what happens around you will decide whether you feel defeated or empowered, whether you rise or stay stuck. Meaning is like the lens through which we see the world, and how we see the world defines our experience of it. Every event in your life, whether positive or negative, is neutral until you assign meaning to it. You might experience a setback at work or a personal disappointment. To one person, this might be a sign that they're not good enough, that the world is against them, or that they've failed. They may feel defeated, helpless, and ready to give up. But to another person, the same setback might be seen as an opportunity to learn, to grow, or to pivot towards something better. The difference is in the meaning each person gives to the situation. The event itself doesn't change, but the way each individual reacts does. The meaning shapes the emotional response and influences how they move forward. Our past experiences are often a powerful influence on the meanings we attach to new events. If you've had many negative experiences with something, your mind may automatically attach a fearful or limiting meaning to similar situations in the future. For example, if you've faced rejection in the past, you might begin to view any new opportunity as a potential failure, even before you take a step. This kind of thinking limits your potential as it keeps you in a cycle of fear and hesitation. But the good news is, the meaning you give to those past experiences is not set in stone. You can choose to change it. You can reframe those experiences, viewing them not as failures, but as valuable lessons. The power to reshape your reality lies within your ability to redefine the meaning of your experiences. The meanings you assign to things also influence your relationships with others. How you interpret someone's words or actions can change everything. A simple comment taken out of context can cause unnecessary conflict or hurt feelings. If someone cuts you off in traffic, one person might take it personally, seeing it as a sign of disrespect. Another person might just shrug it off, realizing that the other driver is likely in a rush and that it's not worth getting upset over. The difference is in the meaning each person gives to the event. In relationships, much of the conflict we face comes from misinterpretations of meaning. When we start assigning more positive or neutral meanings to others' actions, we can improve our communication and reduce unnecessary stress and misunderstanding. The meanings we attach to our goals also determine how we approach them. If you attach a positive meaning to your goals, seeing them as something exciting, a challenge to overcome, or a path to personal growth, you're more likely to take consistent action toward them. But if you attach a negative meaning, viewing them as burdens or something that's impossible to achieve, you may procrastinate, feel overwhelmed, or give up entirely. The way you define your goals will directly impact your level of commitment and your drive to accomplish them. If you approach your goals with the belief that they are achievable and worthwhile, you will be far more motivated to pursue them. There's also power in choosing to give positive meaning to difficult situations. Life doesn't always go as planned. Setbacks, challenges, and hardships are inevitable. However, when you choose to assign a constructive meaning to these events, such as seeing them as an opportunity to build resilience, develop new skills, or gain perspective, you open yourself up to growth. The most successful and fulfilled people are often those who have faced adversity and transformed it into something meaningful. They choose to view challenges as stepping stones, not obstacles. Our meaning-making process is influenced by our beliefs, but it can also be changed. When you begin to realize how much power you have over the meanings you assign to things, you can start to shift your perspective and change your life. This shift doesn't happen overnight, but with practice, it becomes a habit. Every time something happens that evokes a negative emotion, take a moment to ask yourself, what else could this mean? What can I learn from this? And when you choose to give a positive or empowering meaning to a situation, it opens up new possibilities and pathways forward. In the end, the meaning you attach to events doesn't just affect how you feel in the moment. It shapes your entire outlook on life. It determines how you respond to challenges, how you interact with others, and how you pursue your dreams. When you take control of the meanings you give to things, you unlock the ability to live with more joy, resilience, and fulfillment. Life may not always go as planned, but you always have the power to decide what it means and how it impacts your journey. Every action you take, no matter how small, contributes to who you become and the life you lead. The truth is, we often underestimate the power of consistent action, believing that big results require big moves or dramatic decisions. But in reality, it's the accumulation of small actions over time that shapes our identity and our outcomes. The way you choose to act every day, what you do, how you show up, how you respond, forms the foundation of your life story. The actions you take or fail to take define the trajectory of your future. When you make decisions about what to do, you are creating a pattern. Every action you take, even the seemingly insignificant ones, is reinforcing the person you are becoming. If you make small, positive actions every day, you slowly start to transform your habits, your mindset, and your life. If you avoid taking action or make negative choices, you reinforce a different kind of pattern. It's easy to overlook these small choices, but they add up. They build momentum, for better or worse. Over time, that momentum becomes who you are, and it shapes what your life looks like. One of the most important aspects of action is consistency. It's not enough to take one positive step today and then leave it at that. True transformation comes from showing up consistently, taking actions that align with your goals and values, day after day. The power of consistency is what leads to lasting change. Whether it's committing to exercise regularly, dedicating time to learning a new skill, or investing time in your relationships, the key is showing up consistently, even on the days when you don't feel like it, even when it feels challenging. Your ability to take action in those moments is what will determine your success. It's also important to recognize that action is not always about achieving perfection. You don't have to get everything right every time. In fact, failure is an inevitable part of the process, but it's how you respond to setbacks that truly matters. Each failure is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to adjust. When you take action, even if it doesn't lead to immediate success, you gain experience and insight. That experience is invaluable, and it builds your confidence and resilience. The key is to keep moving forward, to keep taking action, even when things don't go according to plan. Success is built on a foundation of persistence and the willingness to keep showing up, no matter how many times you stumble. The way you act also shapes how you feel. When you take positive action, you often feel empowered, motivated, and proud of yourself. This feeling of accomplishment fuels more action. On the other hand, when you avoid taking action, you might feel stuck, frustrated, or guilty. These feelings can paralyze you and make it even harder to move forward. But when you take just one small step, you break the cycle. One small action, like sending an email, making a phone call, or writing down a goal, can shift your mindset and get you back on track. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates results. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that success requires dramatic action. But the truth is, even the smallest steps can lead to profound changes. If you want to improve your health, you don't have to completely overhaul your lifestyle overnight. Start with something small. Take a walk every morning, eat one healthier meal, or drink more water. These small actions will gradually add up. Over time, you'll notice that your habits are changing, and so is your body and mind. It's the same with any goal, whether you want to build a business, learn a new language, or improve your relationships. The key is to take consistent action, no matter how small. Each small action compounds, and before you know it, you've made significant progress. The actions you take are a direct reflection of your beliefs and values. If you value health, you'll act in ways that support your well-being. If you value growth, you'll take actions that stretch your limits and expand your knowledge. If you value relationships, you'll make time for the people who matter to you. Your actions reveal what you truly care about. They are a reflection of your inner world. If you want to change your life, you need to start by changing your actions. Aligning your actions with your values is the quickest way to create a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling. Taking action also requires courage. It's easy to stay in your comfort zone, to avoid taking risks, and to let fear keep you stuck. But growth only happens when you step outside your comfort zone and take action despite the fear. Every time you act, especially when it's uncomfortable, you grow stronger. You build confidence in yourself and your abilities. And with each action, you become more capable, more resilient, and more confident in your ability to handle challenges. The key to lasting success is not about waiting for the perfect moment or for the stars to align. It's about consistently showing up and taking action no matter what. Every decision, every small step is an opportunity to create the life you want. The actions you take today will shape who you become tomorrow. So whether it's a small step forward or a bold leap, remember that action is always the answer. It is through action that dreams are realized, goals are achieved, and lives are transformed. The power is in your hands, and it starts with what you choose to do right now. The life you live is the sum of the choices you make. Every day you are faced with opportunities to decide what you focus on, what meaning you give to events, and what actions you take. But perhaps the most profound decision you make each day is deciding who you want to become. This decision shapes everything else. It influences how you approach challenges, how you respond to others, and how you see yourself. The power of this choice cannot be overstated, for it lays the foundation for everything that follows. When you decide who you want to become, you are setting a direction for your life. It's not about making a decision once and forgetting about it. This decision requires continuous attention and constant reaffirmation. It's a decision that needs to be revisited every day, in every action you take, in every thought you entertain, and in every word you speak. Who you decide to become is not just a vague aspiration or a distant goal. It's something that influences the very fabric of your daily life. It guides how you behave, what you prioritize, and how you show up in the world. Deciding who you want to become is not just about setting external goals. It's not just about what you want to achieve, but about the kind of person you want to be in the process. It's a deeply personal decision that goes beyond accomplishments and success. It's about the values you hold, the character you cultivate, and the mindset you develop. Do you want to become a person who lives with integrity, one who leads with empathy, or perhaps one who remains resilient in the face of adversity? Whatever the answer, this choice is what shapes your experience of the world and your role in it. The power of this decision lies in its ability to influence everything else in your life. When you decide who you want to become, you automatically begin to make decisions that align with that vision. You begin to choose your actions, thoughts, and habits based on the person you want to be rather than reacting to the circumstances or external influences. For example, if you decide that you want to be a person who is disciplined, you will find yourself making choices that reinforce that trait. You'll wake up early, stick to your commitments, and prioritize what matters most, even when it's hard. Your actions will align with the person you are becoming, and over time, those actions will become the new foundation of your identity. This decision also influences your resilience in the face of challenges. Life is full of obstacles, and the path to achieving anything meaningful is rarely smooth. However, when you are clear on who you want to become, you begin to approach challenges differently. Instead of seeing setbacks as failures, you start seeing them as opportunities to test your character and grow. If you decide that you want to become someone who remains calm under pressure, you will find ways to manage stress and stay focused in difficult situations. When you face adversity, instead of being overwhelmed by it, you use it as fuel to become stronger, more adaptable, and more resourceful. Your decision about who you want to become also shapes how you interact with others. When you define your own identity, you create a blueprint for how you treat people, how you show up in relationships, and what kind of leader or follower you are. If you decide you want to be a person who is kind and compassionate, you will naturally act in ways that reflect these qualities. Your behavior will become a reflection of your inner values, and this will influence your interactions with others. People will see you as a person who lives by their principles, and that will attract more meaningful connections into your life. Moreover, this decision helps you focus on what truly matters. In a world full of distractions It can be easy to lose sight of what is important, but when you decide who you want to become, you create a compass for your life. It allows you to filter out the noise and prioritize the things that align with your values. Instead of getting caught up in the opinions of others or the pressures of society, you begin to make choices based on your vision of yourself. This clarity of purpose helps you to stay on track and avoid getting sidetracked by things that don't contribute to your growth. Choosing who you want to become also empowers you to let go of things that no longer serve you. As you become more clear on the person you want to be, you start to recognize what's holding you back. It may be negative habits, toxic relationships, or limiting beliefs. Once you decide on your vision for yourself, you can take deliberate action to release these obstacles from your life. This might mean changing your environment, surrounding yourself with supportive people, or confronting internal fears and doubts. Every time you align your choices with the person you want to become, you create more space for growth, freedom, and fulfillment. The beauty of this decision is that it's always within your control. No matter where you are in life or what challenges you face, you always have the power to choose who you want to become. This decision is not dependent on external circumstances or other people's opinion. It's about taking full responsibility for your life and recognizing that your future is shaped by the choices you make today. The decision to define who you want to become is the ultimate act of empowerment. It's the first step toward living a life of purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. It is the foundation of everything you create, and it's the key to unlocking your full potential. Every journey, no matter how complex or uncertain, always circles back to the decisions we make. The beauty of life lies in its constant unfolding, moment by moment, choice by choice. Whether it's deciding what to focus on, what meaning to give to events, what actions to take, or who we want to become, each decision holds the power to shape the path ahead. These are not just surface-level choices. They are deep, guiding forces that determine the quality of our lives, our relationships, our emotional well-being, and ultimately our destiny. It's important to understand that we are never truly powerless. Even in the face of overwhelming circumstances, even when everything feels uncertain or outside of our control, there's one thing we always have authority over: our decisions. That alone gives us freedom. It gives us the ability to shift direction, to rise above challenges, and to turn pain into purpose. No one else can decide for us who we will become or how we will respond. That choice will always be ours, and that makes all the difference. Taking control of your focus allows you to rise above distractions, negativity, giving empowering meaning to your experiences, helps you transform setbacks into strength. Taking action consistently, even when it's uncomfortable, builds confidence and long-term momentum. And perhaps most importantly, choosing who you want to become gives your life a compass, a direction rooted in purpose and identity. These daily decisions made with intention compound over time and ultimately define the life you lead. You don't have to wait for a big break or a life-changing opportunity. You can begin where you are with what you have by simply becoming more aware of your power to choose. And it doesn't require perfection. Growth isn't about getting everything right every time. It's about choosing to show up again and again, even after falling down. It's about making the small decisions with great consistency. The habits you build, the words you speak, and the thoughts you choose to entertain are all reflections of your inner world, and they feed the outer world you're creating. The good news is it's never too late. No matter what your past looks like, no matter how many times you've taken the wrong turn, every day gives you a new chance to decide again. The future isn't fixed, it's fluid, it responds to the choices you make today. And when those choices come from a place of clarity, intention, and truth, the life that unfolds can exceed anything you once imagined. So take a moment to reflect. Ask yourself, what am I focusing on? What meaning am I giving to what's happening around me? What action can I take right now to move forward? Who am I becoming through the choices I'm making? These questions are not just for reflection, they are keys. And when you use them with awareness and courage, they unlock doors you didn't even know existed. Your life is your message, written by the decisions you make. Make them count.